The room was dark, except for the faint light of the moon filtering through the window. I sat huddled in a corner, my knees drawn up to my chest, my eyes fixed on the door. I could hear it moving, ever so slightly. The soft creak of the hinges, the gentle brush of fabric against wood. And then, nothing. Just silence. I knew that it was coming for me. I had seen it before, in my dreams, in the shadows. I could feel its cold breath on the back of my neck, could sense its hunger. But I couldn't move. Fear had frozen me in place, had stolen my voice. All I could do was wait for the end to come. And then, it was there. In the doorway, a shapeless mass, a void in the fabric of reality. It hovered there, waiting, watching. I tried to scream, to run, but my body wouldn't respond. It was as if I was trapped in a nightmare, unable to wake up. And then, it spoke. "Hello," it said, in a voice that sounded like 1,000 whispers. "Are you ready to play?" I didn't know what it meant, but I knew that it was a trap. A trick to lull me into a false sense of security, to make me let my guard down. But then, it did something unexpected. It started to sing. A lullaby, a gentle melody that washed over me like a wave. And as I listened, I felt the fear start to fade. The creature stepped into the room, and I saw that it was not a monster, but a child. A little girl, with dark hair and piercing blue eyes. She smiled at me, and held out her hand. "Come with me," she said. "I'll take care of you." I didn't know what to do. Everything inside me was screaming to run, to get as far away as possible. But something in her eyes made me trust her, made me believe that she meant me no harm. I took her hand, and she led me out of the room, down a dark hallway, and into a larger space. It was a playroom, filled with toys and games. There were other children there, all playing and laughing. The little girl took me to a corner, and we sat down together. She handed me a doll, and we played together for hours. I felt safe, happy, like I had found a home. But then, things started to change. The children grew distant, cold. They would stare at me, their eyes empty, their faces devoid of emotion. And then, the little girl disappeared. I searched the playroom, but she was nowhere to be found. And as I looked around, I saw that the toys and games had changed. They were darker, more sinister. The dolls had razor-sharp teeth, the games were filled with traps and snares. And then, I saw it. The creature that had brought me here. It was back, and it was waiting for me. "Hello again," it said, in that same whispering voice. "Did you have fun?" I tried to run, but I was trapped. The walls of the playroom had closed in, sealing me inside. And then, the creature started to sing again. The lullaby, the melody that had calmed me before. But this time, it was different. The words were darker, more twisted. And as I listened, I felt my mind start to unravel. I saw things that weren't real. Shadows that moved, whispers in the darkness. And then, I saw the little girl again. But this time, she was different, she was older, her hair now a tangle of knots and her eyes filled with malice. The once playful and innocent child was now a manifestation of evil. "You should have stayed," she said, her voice dripping with venom. "Now, you're mine." I tried to run again, but my body wouldn't move. I was paralyzed with fear, with the knowledge that there was no escape. The little girl approached me, her movements slow and deliberate. She reached out with her bony fingers, and I felt her cold touch on my skin. And then, I was somewhere else. I was in a dark forest, surrounded by trees that seemed to stretch into infinity. The air was thick with fog, and I could hear the sound of my own breathing. I started to walk, my footsteps echoing through the silence. And then, I heard something else. The sound of laughter, of children playing. I followed the sound, and soon I came to a clearing. In the center of the clearing was a group of children, playing some kind of game. They seemed so happy. I watched them for a while, envious of their carefree demeanor. And then, one of them turned to me. It was the little girl from the playroom, but this time she was smiling, her eyes bright. "Hi," she said. "Do you want to play?" I hesitated, but then I nodded. It was like a dream come true, to be accepted by these children, to be part of something. We played for hours, until the sun started to set. And then, one by one, the children disappeared, until it was just me and the little girl. "Thank you for playing with me," she said. "I had fun." And then, she was gone too. I was alone in the clearing, surrounded by darkness. I started to walk again, but this time, I was afraid. I didn't know where I was, or how to get back to reality. And then, I heard a sound behind me. It was the little girl, but this time she was different. Her hair was stringy, her eyes empty. She was like a puppet, controlled by something else. "Did you have fun?" she asked, her voice now a low growl. I tried to run, but she was faster. She grabbed me by the arm, her grip like iron. And then, I woke up. I was back in the playroom, surrounded by the twisted toys and games. But this time, I wasn't alone. The other children were there, their eyes empty, their faces devoid of emotion. They were like puppets, controlled by the same force that had brought me there. I tried to run, but the walls were too high. I was trapped, in a nightmare that had no end. And then, I saw it. The little girl, once again. But this time, she wasn't alone. There was something else with her, something dark and malevolent. I tried to scream, but my voice was gone. I could only watch as they approached me, their eyes fixed on mine. And then, the little girl spoke. "Thank you for playing with us," she said. "But now, it's time to go." And then, I was somewhere else. My eyes were a bit foggy, but I could tell I was surrounded by doctors and nurses, all hovering over me. I started to panic as I could feel some sort of pain in my head. It was excruciating. That's right, the last thing I remember before this horrible nightmare, I was having surgery to remove my brain tumor. Monitors started going off. What looked to be the main doctor noticed I had woken up. "That's not good, the subject is starting to wake up," he said. One of the nurses came over and looked at me. I couldn't believe my eyes, it was her. "Hello," she said with a smile. As she put a tube in my mouth. My eyelids started to get heavy, everything was going dark. "Don't worry, we will fix you right up. And then we can play forever."